Welcome to the Grind and Gratitude Show. I am Danny Stone. And look, if this is your first time tuning in, thanks so much. If you're back again, well, you know I got love for you. You know I like to bring you guys amazing guests, right? And I got a really special guest for you guys right now. Now, this guy that I have is a big-time R&B singer. His new project is Untitled. He's a Toronto-based R&B sensation. He was back from a hiatus because he's been away for a while, but he's back, and I'm glad to have him here. His 2010 breakout album, I Am Jordan, yielded gold singles. You Can Have It All and Like Magic. You know, we're gonna ask him all about that and what it feels like to have your album go gold. He's also a Juno Award winner. So the Junos are the Canadian version of the Grammys. So he has one of those. And right now, Jordan is set to release his third studio album called Ralph sometime in 2020. He's been working on this album since I Am Jordan was released in 2010. This project is very near and dear to his heart because he feels it represents his growth as a man, and naming it Ralph was his way of showing that growth. And he's never gone by Ralph, which is his first name. So we got to talk about that name, all that too. So welcome to the show, my man, Jordan. What's going on, brother?
Man, it's good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Man, it's good to see you
Oh,
too, brother.
yeah, no, everything is good, man. Back home on the East Coast, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the East Coast too. We have listeners from all over the world, and thank you if you're tuning in from wherever you're tuning in from, because we have listeners in 21 different countries. So we're gonna talk a little bit about what back home is.
Yeah,
So how have you been, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Just out here being a daddy, working on this music thing and just keeping that grind alive, man. Keeping that grind alive.
Man, I'm seeing your Instagram post, and your daughter is beautiful, man. How old is she?
He's 5. She'll be 6 in January.
Oh, that's amazing, man. It must be so great to just kind of see her growing up and seeing things through her eyes.
Oh man, it's crazy. We grow up more when we have kids, right? They teach us more than we know.
Oh man, you said it, brother. You said it. Before we kind of jump into the music, Jordan, man, talk a little bit about you know, you and I grew up in Nova Scotia, Canada, which is like the east coast of Canada. And what was it like for you growing up there? People always ask me about it, but I want to ask you, what was growing up in Nova Scotia like?
I honestly I have very, very fond memories of growing up here. I thought it was a beautiful time. It was when I started to dream, because I don't know if you knew, but when I was 9 months old, I was born here in Halifax, but when I was 9 months old, we moved to Toronto until I was 10. So I didn't get to Uniacke Square until I was around 10. So that's when, like for me, my adolescence and then becoming a teenager, that's when I started to dream and discovered my passions for life. And I have very, very great memories, living in Uniacke Square. There's always the ups and downs of dealing with public housing and the struggles of not getting the best income and not making a lot of money in that way. But my mom and dad, I was lucky to have them both in the household, and both there supporting me through my journey in sports and in music. So I have nothing but beautiful fond memories of living and growing up on the East Coast. Now, the one other thing is, of course, we all go through this, is losing people to senseless gun violence and stuff like that. That's one of the only things that I would say is something that I don't like to talk about or discuss about. My past is, losing friends to gun violence in a neighborhood that, it happened quite often.
Well, I can definitely relate. I grew up just across the bridge, from where you were, and it's the same thing. Great memories. It was all about music growing up. It was all about sports. Both of us played basketball. I used to DJ, and a lot of great memories. But just like you said, I lost some friends to gun violence as well, and so I can definitely relate to that, brother. And so you said earlier, like, you talked about sports and music. So was music your first love, or was sports your first love? What was your first love?
Music. It's funny is they were both came to me around the same time, but music was first. When I first moved here, my brother had a collection of CDs where we got from in Toronto. So like he had this collection from like when CDs first started coming out. So he had this huge collection, about 3,000 CDs, and we moved to Halifax, and he would tell me like, don't touch my CDs. So like I was just new in Halifax, and I found a Babyface CD, his first one, Tender Love, and fell in love with singing Sunshine. So, me going up to the hood in the square, singing, in front of people or whatever, and people would make fun of me. So I was just like, okay, you guys gonna make fun of me. I'm gonna do what you love, so you can't make fun of me. But I always sang and I always kept it inside. But that was definitely my first love, and then of course basketball kind of took over things after that.
And so, like, Babyface was a serious artist back in the day. So,
Yeah.
like, who were your like early influences in music?
Before that, I mean, Babyface, what I'd say he's the reason, the initial inspiration, because I learned how to sing by singing his song Sunshine.
Okay.
And that's how I taught myself how to sing. But before that, it was like James Brown, I remember, and Michael Jackson. But this is just from being, living in a household where my brother was an R&B head, and he had all the best R&B going. So really, my brother, he had a big part of this. And he used to have all the best music, the posters on the wall, the Michael Jackson posters. And then my dad had a water bed when we lived in Toronto with an 8-track in the back.
What?
So, 8-track. So literally, bro, like one of my earliest memories of really feeling music was Tina Turner and Ike Turner, Rolling on the River. And that's a long song. So I used to be like, literally, I used to be laid in the waterbed, like this floating, right? Just floating. So that's my earliest memory of like, oh, I like this music. You know what I mean? So I give it to Tina, Ike were the first influence, but then like Michael Jackson, of course. And then, I mean, after I fell in love with singing, it was all the R&B that you could think of: Jodeci, Troop, Silk, Shy, all of those guys back in the day. Bobby Brown, New Edition. So it's all of that R&B that still stands the test of time today. The great R&B artists of the world.
And that's amazing that that whole waterbed with the 8-track in the back, and
Yeah, I still got the pictures and stuff, man. That's crazy. Yeah, he had that on the go, man. Pops was an old player back in the day. He had the brown velvet. He had the brown velvet all on it and everything.
I love that, man. I think those early, the R&B in the 90s, like with all of the artists that you just named, I think, for me, it was the same. There was always music in my house. My mom used to listen to everything from, Tina Turner, James Brown, Bob Marley, all the way down to Michael Bolton and George Michael.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's right. That's dope. That's really dope.
And so that was the kind of musical influence. So you started playing basketball so that guys wouldn't make fun of you for the singing. That's why you started playing basketball?
That wasn't really the reason I started. Well, it started because they made fun of me. And then I said to myself, you know what? And everybody in the hood was either playing ball or football, basketball or football. So I was like, yo, you know what? All right, you guys make fun of me. I love singing. I'm gonna do what you love and become just as good, if not better.
Right.
So that was the motivation, and that's why I always sang throughout the years, and everybody knew that I sang. But I always try to tell kids like, don't bully, encourage each other, because what if they would have said on the block like, yo, you can be the next Michael Jackson, like where I would have took my mindset would have been towards my music. So I kind of call myself a late bloomer, but I'm grateful and thankful for those guys, because without them I wouldn't have had the journey in life that that I had, and going down that road, playing basketball and being successful and actually becoming one of the best players to come out of the community after being motivated by them to do that.
Yeah, you were a good basketball player. You and I played against each other many times. I don't know if we ever played on the same basketball team though. In any of the
we never played the same. We played against each other, but never the same. But we went to the same school at one point.
Yeah.
Not to go.
No, you were a good basketball player, and at one point, right? Didn't you play professional basketball in France?
Yeah. I played a year. I had a year stint in France, and it was like a national 2 team. So it wasn't like the Pro A, Pro B, or nothing like that. But we had a chance to move up, and I was over there, and that's when I really got the itch to like start writing and to start writing music, because I knew like. I was realistic about it, and my whole dream was to make the NBA. I played on Team Canada before that, traveled the world with Team Canada for the senior team as well as this university games team. And I knew that it was going to take me a long, 5-6 years to even have a shot at an NBA tryout. So that's when I decided while I was in France, I was like, this is I decided while I was there that I was, you know, it was going to take me 5 years to have that shot at the NBA. So I made the decision early. I started writing. I hit up Trobiz while I was over there, sending them emails like, "Yo, Tro, send me some beats, man. I'm writing music, and when I come back, I'm going to be an R&B singer." So that's kind of where I decided that, you know what, I was done with the ball, and I gave it up. I had a good run, and I wanted to take a shot at the music.
But even that, like you said, it would have probably taken you a good 5 to 6 years to try to get to the NBA. What made you make that switch? Because music wasn't guaranteed to be a shorter run either.
It's because I had that itch for so long. You know what I'm saying? And accomplishing what I did, 2 back-to-back national titles, 6 black tournament titles, MVP in the black tournament, you know, playing for Team Canada. That was I pretty much accomplished every goal except for putting on an NBA jersey. Like playing against NBA players, I did that. Practicing with them, being a part of a teammate as some NBA players, I did all that. You know, so the only goal that I didn't achieve was getting drafted and putting on a jersey. So
Right.
I felt like, you know what, I could let go and be proud and happy with how far I come in the sport.
Of course. I mean, you went, I'm proud of how far you come, man. You came a long way with basketball, man. You went really far with it. And, I remember that one summer, and I'm not sure what summer it was. You came up here and you had some, I think, demo CDs, I think during Caravana, which is our carnival. So
yes, yes, I remember, bro. I remember that, man. You know what? A lot of people up in Toronto still to this day tell me that story too. They're like, "Yo, I remember you handing them CDs out in the streets or during Caravana outside the club and shit."
That was a good time.
Yeah, bro.
You came during Carnival, and Carnival in Toronto is crazy. Over 1 million people attend the parade, and you came up that summer and you were like, "Look, man, I'm singing now. I have some demos. Let's go hand them out." And after the clubs, we would just go out of the club and you would sing outside. People would come out of the club and you would be singing. You'd be like, "Here, take one of my CDs."
That's right. That's the real grind, man. That's the old, that's the old do-it-yourself way. And that kind of started off, my career too, like, being up there in Toronto, because eventually I knew I was going to live in Toronto, and that was like, I lived there half my life now to this point. But yeah, that's kind of like a home away from home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's where we kind of got it popping. Yeah.
And so how did you develop your R&B style? Like, how did you develop your singing style? Did you mimic somebody? Did you kind of mesh things together? How did your style kind of come together?
You know what? It's all, we're always influenced. And I think Babyface was the number one influence. And then, of course, when you're, listening to so many artists, you kind of take a little bit from each other, not even knowing you're doing it. So, there's other things that, people ask me the question, they're like, "Yo," or they'll comment and say, "You're the Trey Songz of Canada." And the reason why they say that, I'm gonna clear this up right now. The reason why they say that is because when I did You Can Have It All, I was writing that song for Trey Songz.
Oh.
Yeah, so like we just put that out on a limb and just see how it went. And then, if I could go back, I would have recut the song, re-sang it, and put a little bit more of my spin on it. But I was trying to mimic him. That's why people always say, Trey Songz of Canada. But now the music I'm creating now, I've grown so much since then. It's really starting to feel, well, it is sounding like me and feels a lot more better to me, like, as me creating my own sound, you know what I'm saying? And also being influenced by writers I've worked with, producers I've worked with. There's a lot goes into the growth of creating and finding your sound. So I still don't feel like I'm there yet until I'm able to produce my own music. Then I'll be able to really figure out what my own sound is.
Yeah, but I mean, you had 2 gold singles. Like, what was that like when you first found out that your first single went gold? What was that feeling like?
You know what? I always tell the same story when people ask me that question. It felt really good, but I wasn't like super excited when I found out You Can Have It All went gold, because I know the equivalent to gold in Canada is not even close to the equivalent of gold in the States, and that's the main market that I was trying to break and I still am trying to break to this day. So I knew that wasn't really that, it wasn't really it. So I remember having a conversation. I remember exactly where I was too when me and Cashmere. She directed most of my videos, 90% of my videos. I remember I was driving on the on the Gardner, passing Air Canada Center, and me and Kaz are having an argument because I'm on the corner, and she's like, "Man, we gotta celebrate." And I'm like, "Nah, I ain't celebrating. That ain't shit." You know what I'm saying? I want more. And she was like, "What do you mean? You're the first R&B artist to go gold in Canada in years." You know, so that was, you know, I now I look back and I really appreciate it, and it was a great feeling. But that just shows the competitive side of me. I just was just hungry, and even to this day, I'm still like, I work more and more knowing that I need to crack a different market, a U.S. market, a European market, because I've only had real success here in Canada. You know, so that's the difference, is trying to crack into those markets. And I think with this project that I'm going to put out this year, we're going to have a shot at that. There's some really good stuff on there that I'm really proud of. I've been working on for a long time.
Yeah, and you know, I think right now the world needs some really good music, and you know, I think your sound, like the video I saw with you in the Kenyan Boys Choir,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
how did that happen? What's the name of that one song?
That is Same Sky. That came about. I went on a trip to Africa, my first trip to the motherland, and I went to Kenya, and I was over there, and I was with FTC, and we went over to help build schools and just, you know, experience the life over there, and just, you know, shed some positivity, help the mamas with water, walking water, and just going and helping, you know, meeting the kids, encouraging the kids, and uplifting them. So when I was there, we had a night where they brought in the Kenyan Boys Choir to give us some entertainment, because we were staying in a camp. And so they came in, and, you know, they were doing their show in front of us. It was a night we had popcorn out by the fire outside. It was just beautiful. And so they came and did their thing. And then all of a sudden, they started playing Can't Choose. They started singing my song to me. So imagine being in Africa and with a boys choir, Kenyan boys choir, who had already sang for Obama, who you know, traveled the world, and who was like, you know, really, you know, sought after. They singing my song in front of me, and automatically I was just felt overwhelmed, honored, and just like, it was just a beautiful feeling. So right away I was like, man, I got to work with you guys at some point. And that wasn't even like, that Same Sky didn't even come to fruition then. So when I'm leaving Kenya and flying over to Masai Mara to go to, I was going to, oh yeah, we were in the Masai Mara, and I was flying over to go back to Nairobi. And just after being there for a week and, you know, reflecting on this trip and being up in the sky, when I fly, I like to write down concepts for titles for songs or whatnot. So I wrote this concept in my phone, Same Sky, because the trip meant to me, like, yo, you know, I seen these kids running up to our truck, no shoes, they just want a piece of candy or just want to say hi. You know what I mean? And I just felt like, you know what, we're all one race. We're all one, you know, under the same sky. Like, you know what I mean? So just that alone was the initial inspiration. And then about 8 months later, I'm in the studio with Sebastian Cole, a really dope writer from Alabama. And we started working on this record. It was guitar driven. And then I started mumbling, you know, Same Sky. I'm looking through my concepts. I started mumbling something to Same Sky, and he heard me say that, and then boom, it just started to ramble off, and we created this record. And then that still didn't have the Kenyan Boys Choir on it until later on down the road, where I was going to do the We Day shows, and they worked for We Day and did some stuff. So they came back, and you know, I had the idea. I was like, hey, like, why don't we get them to do some Swahili choir stuff on the song? So we went in the studio, we banged it out, and then, you know, it didn't come out for a couple years after that. So it was, you know, that is it's quite the story how that one came together. And I feel like the message is, you know, it's funny that when I did drop the song, it was a couple weeks before the George Floyd thing.
Wow.
So I literally, when I dropped the song and then the George Floyd thing happened, I literally stepped back. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, you know what, I didn't want to push that narrative at the time, because it was and still is about Black Lives Matter. Right. You know what I'm saying? Me pushing that narrative at that time was just the wrong time. So I stepped back and I waited for a while, you know, let things boil over. And then I kind of did a couple interviews and talked about it. But it's still, that still doesn't change my stance on, you know, believing being one race and everybody helping each other. But at that point in time, it was Black, and right now, even to this day, with the Breonna Taylor and everything that's going on, it's Black Lives Matter. And I still stand for that. But at the same time, you know, I'm white, I'm Black, and I do believe in one race being under the same sky and living in harmony. And you know, it's just sad that we're in a time at 2020 that it hasn't come to that yet.
Man, you know, I mean, much respect to you for stepping back and just letting, you know, what was happening at the time with George Floyd and everything kind of just be out there, right? Because, you know, sometimes when it comes to music or when it comes to other things, People just
Yeah,
don't even care about that. They put their project out regardless of what's happening, the climate. And so for you to kind of step back, and that's a really major record, man. Like
yeah,
with the Kenyan Boys Choir, like the first time I heard that, I'm like, it's such a like inspiring. It's like a open. It's like the
yeah,
song just makes you open, right? It
yeah.
just like.
Yeah.
And
Like
when
a
I heard it the first time, I'm like, I gotta play this again. And then I played it again, and I was just sitting there like listening to the lyrics. Then I watched the video with the boys choir and you, and I'm like, man, this is dope, man. The whole concept, the video is amazing.
thing.
You did a great job with that, man. You did a great.
Thank-
And I
Yeah,
see the elevation. I saw from there. I saw the elevation with you in terms of like the type of music you're doing, your
right.
sound, all of that.
Yeah, and that's why like I wanted to put that out because that's what I truly believe in. And I feel like this project too is gonna be that thing that's, is gonna be there's still gonna be a couple of urban R&B, but I'm saying some stuff about love and about humanity and about humility and family. So like before in the past I was doing a lot of songs just to stay in that R&B lane, but I feel like I have a obligation as an artist to do my part in trying to make the world a better place in any way, shape, or form that I can.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because, it doesn't matter what you do. We can all make a difference. We can all help other people. We can all care about other people. We can all be empathetic, right? But I think like as an artist, I agree with you. I think there's another level of responsibility, or even what I do as a speaker and a coach. Like I can't, it's my responsibility to do more and to try to empower people. So, you know, with all of this, like, is that kind of the driving force behind you trying to like make this album what you want it to be?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Because this is the first time in my whole career that I've been 100% fully independent. So I've always had 5 to 7 voices in my head or my ear telling me not to do this record. Like there's some songs that I put out. My biggest record ever, like Magic, I didn't even want to put that song out.
Really?
Yeah, and I like at the time I was just like, nah, it's too popcorn, it's too bubblegum, like la 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 la, and it turned out being my biggest record. But this time around, I don't have nobody in my ear. This is all me. That's why I'm calling the project Ralph, because this is all me. This is literally like I've definitely had collaborated, but the track listing and the way it's in order and everything is it's really all me, and like not having anyone to tell me you have to drop this song, you have to drop this song. Now I can finally be free and do what I want, especially in a age of streaming where things are a lot different. Like I missed the whole streaming beginning of the streaming age because of contracts. I was under contract. I didn't put out music. That's why I had a setback for like 3 years. I couldn't put
Wow.
out music or else they were going to own it. The label would have owned it. But now I got out of that, got out of all of that, the contract stuff. And I'm working as an independent artist, and it's a lot better. I'm sure like, the success might take a little while, but I'm happy that I own my own masters. You know what I'm saying? I own everything that I'm doing. So it's more of a sense of pride in taking the art a lot more serious. And of course, going through, life experiences too. I have a daughter now. I can't, be talking about trying to have threesomes with women and stuff like that. What kind of message am I putting out there? You know what I
That's
mean?
true. That's true.
That kind of changed things too.
And so like being an independent artist, right? Like, do you find, is it more pressure for you or is it more freedom? Like, how does that feel now that you're independent? I know there's a sense of freedom, but like now, do you feel more pressure to get it right because it's just you and not a label behind you?
No, it's definitely less pressure, but the only thing is like, the idea of, okay, is it going to be successful? Because in this game, it's pay to play. You need money in this music industry to make things happen, to reach the masses. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes you'll have a shot in the dark with one song or something. So there's no pressure, and it just feels more comfortable. And now, like for instance, if I was gonna drop a song on the 9th, my next song, but now I'm gonna push it back to give it more room on Spotify because I have a relationship with Spotify Canada, more room for them to actually help promote it. You know what I'm saying? It's just and in the past it would have been nope, it comes out this day, has to come out this day, or else,
Yeah.
or I'm dropping you and you're done.
Right.
What I mean? So it's a lot easier, and it makes the creative process a lot easier too because there's no rush.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And now you're getting to work with whoever you want. I'm sure like with the label before might not have been able to work with certain artists, but now you can work with whoever you want.
That's facts, and that's like my projects when I was with the label. They produced 99% of so they kept me boxed into a particular sound. You know what I mean? And now
Yeah.
it's like I'm working with this producer, that producer, this artist, this writer, and it's just me taking my friends and the people that I know that I can work good with and bringing that into my world and creating this this new entity.
So what's that energy like going into the studio with like your friends and people that you know you love to work? Like what's that whole energy and that vibe like compared to like maybe it might have been before?
It's a lot. It's a lot free. It's a lot freer. It's like the freedom is there. Like we go in with no expectations and no limitations. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it makes things a lot easier because going in that okay, you're not expecting like okay, our producers want me to do this concept and sing like this or do this music. It's like what do we go in? What are we doing today? How you feel? How you feel?
Yeah.
Okay, start that little key pattern, whatever. We're gonna start some melodies. You grab the guitar or whatever, or there's already a beat, you know what I'm saying? And then we work it like that. It's no schedule. Like it's just, we just go in and that makes it a lot easier and more comfortable working that way. And like I said, now I work with, because when I was under the label, they'd take me to Atlanta or LA. Okay, we got these writers coming. I don't know these people from a hole in the wall.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like I had great experience with that. But now it's like I'm calling up my boy Sonny. You know what I'm saying? I'm calling my girl Kaylee and I'm like, yo, let's go to the studio. We're comfortable. We know each other. And it's easy to work with.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To work with each other, and it just makes it for the music to come out, I think, a little bit better because there's no expectations, and you just create.
So who are some artists that you've worked with already that you enjoyed those experiences? Because you've worked with a lot of different artists so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who are some people that you work with that you liked and you enjoyed those experiences?
Definitely, Cardi. Cardi's one guy. His energy was always good, and
Cardinal Offishall.
Yeah, Cardinal Offishall. He's actually been he helped me out a lot in my career since we started working together. You know what I'm saying? So him and Sebastian Cole is he's a Motown signed artist, but he's more known for his writing. And he is the guy that really helped shape where my future in music is going, because I never worked with, besides Frank Ocean, who I had a session with in LA. Before he was Frank Ocean, nobody knew he was about to come out as Frank. Like 4 months after our session, he dropped some music as Frank Ocean, but he was Lonnie Barreau at the time.
Oh wow.
Ocean, Sebastian was the one guy who really took the time to get to know me and get to know where I'm from. He asked, you know what I'm saying? Like, and some writers would just come in and just like, all right, what's up? What do you do? Okay, cool. We're going to write this song. All right, cool. But Sebastian, we'd go spend 2-3 hours drinking before we'd even go in the session. And some days we'd have a session. We wouldn't even go to the session because we were we were getting along so well and getting to know each other. But then the next day he's coming to the session. It's like, boom, and it's right on the nose. Like, for instance, like him knowing the history of Black culture in Canada and in Nova Scotia. If he wouldn't have known that, he wouldn't have been able to give me songs like The Way You Love Me and Lost that are coming out on this project that have a feel like a gospel feel, like, you know what I mean? Like that up home sound where people up home gonna be like, what? Wow. How you doing all that now? You know what I mean? So, he's definitely one artist that I really, really, really cherish and appreciate working with.
Man, that's awesome. I think, it's, I have some people like that too. And, I do like a lot of community work and trying to help inspire young people. Mm-hmm. And, some people you have to work with, but it's different when you get to work with someone who's on the same level, like right. In terms of what you're trying to create in the world. Like I have 2 or 3 people like that. And it's just a whole different way to work, right? When you're, right. And that's why I always tell people, like, maybe you could say a couple words about this, but you have to, I always tell people, be aware of your life support network. The people that are around you, are they lifting you up or are they holding you back? Like, so if you had people in your life that have kind of like been hating on you and tried to hold you back, and if you did, like, how'd you get away or around those people?
That's a hard thing for me because I have such a good heart, and like I still always see the good in people, but I'm I have a new woman in my life who's showing me that that's not it. And I've been slowly weeding out those people that are bringing me down, and me always just giving them the benefit of the doubt. But now it's just like I'm more focused on myself and what I'm doing in my career, and have the support that I need, and just cutting ties with them. You can still be cool, but I'm not going to be hanging with you all the time. I'm not going to be running around, and you know what I mean? So So it's tough for me, but I'm learning how to deal with that and become better at that, and just keeping positive people in your life, people that actually want to see you win and that give you good advice. They're not just there to hang out and party, you know what I'm saying, and bring you down. And not they don't want to see you successful. For me, but I'm my skin's getting a little tougher when it comes to that.
Yeah, I think it's, I talk to people about this all the time, and it was difficult for me in the beginning, but I had to focus on what I was trying to create. What's my mission in life? You know what I'm saying? And some people just weren't a part of that mission, right? And I think
Mm-hmm.
when you have a bigger mission and you're trying to be of service to more people and really uplift people, that's what I started focusing on. I wrote my first book, and I was going in a different direction, and people kept trying to, oh, you think you're something because you're an author. And I just thought,
Right.
well, yeah, I am something. You're something too, but I'm using my something different than you.
Exactly. No, that's important too, man, is realizing that and figuring it out. And it's like, even like, we talked about sports and basketball. Like, a lot of my friends that were my basketball friends, they're still my friends, but we don't have no reason to be around each other like that no more. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So the circles kind of change. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that I don't got love for you. We still reach out. We talk to each other every once in a while. When I'm home, we'll go to a barbecue, we'll meet up. But it's not like I'm not hitting you every day, as opposed to when I'm hitting up my producer or hitting up my engineer, or you know what I'm saying, every day. Yo, I gotta get this, like, that's the relationships change, the circles change, but it doesn't mean that you ain't got love for them people, but we just go on different paths. You know what I'm saying? Some people just ain't on the same journey and ain't on the same road as you. So and there ain't nothing to be ashamed about that, or feel bad in any way. And I used to feel a little bit ways about it, but not anymore. People understand, and your real friends are the ones that are gonna let you go and do that. They ain't gonna say nothing. They're just gonna say, no, do your thing. We good. You talk to them, and it ain't nothing changed. 2 years that go by, you still talk to them, ain't nothing changed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's how you know you're real friends.
Yeah, I love that, man. And like you just mentioned that you're in a new relationship too. Like,
Yeah.
is that inspiring your music? Like, when you're in a
Oh,
relationship or you're out of a relationship or whatever, does that dictate the types of songs that you'll do?
for sure. Definitely does. And it's not to say that you just focus on, okay, I can't say this, or I can't say that, or I can't bring these up. It's not only that, but it's just that when you actually find someone that, that you really love, and you're growing together in your relationship, and it's a lot more comforting. You know what I'm saying? And I'm lucky because she's an artist as well and a producer. And so, we both are in the same world, so we understand each other a lot more. And it's been a rough go with me with relationships, to be honest. So I'm just happy I found somebody that, that gets me and is making me a better man.
Yeah, I'm sure relationships must be tough because I'm not comparing myself to you, but like, as an entrepreneur, like, I remember when I first kind of left my quote unquote good corporate job,
Mm-hmm.
and before I was leaving, I said to she was my fiance at the time. I was like, look, I'm planning on leaving my job. I
Mm-hmm.
just feel like I need to be doing more,
Right.
and really need, and we sat down, we talked about it, and she was really supportive, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be different if she wasn't supportive. Like, when you know what you're meant to do, like, you tell me, because when you know what you're meant to do, and you have to do it. For me, I can't let anybody get in the way. If she would have said no, I don't know what would have happened. And I tell
Yeah,
her this all the time.
the wedding might have been off.
I think the wedding would have been canceled. What?
Yeah,
You
for
don't want me
sure.
to go out here and speak and empower people? You ain't the right woman for me.
Yeah, that's right. That's
You know what I'm
right. No,
saying?
that's facts, bro. And to me, that's why, you know what? And that's why for so long, the relationship that I was in right before I started doing music, she was like, to this day, this really holds a spot in my heart for her, but that she was supportive of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then when I left her, we didn't even leave each other. We didn't really break up. We just kind of faded apart because I had to move to Toronto with my new label deal and production deal and everything. And she tried to come up and get a job in Toronto, but didn't get the right job she wanted, but because she had such a big position here in Nova Scotia. So we kind of drifted apart. And then that's why kind of all my relationships up until my latest new relationship now haven't been that, because I became successful. And it was always, they were there, but it felt like they were just like yes women, like, oh yeah, 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 oh yeah, yeah, thinking that, okay, he's gonna blow and we're gonna be good. And then when the money start running out, it's like, oh, they're running away. You know what I'm saying? So that does play a role, and that's why, like, up until now, I finally found someone that gets it and understands me, and I'm good. I'm happy.
That's amazing, man. I love seeing my friends with in great relationships and with supportive people, man. And that's what we should want for each other, right? We should all want that for each other.
Yeah.
Um, so in talking about like, you blowing up and getting all this attention and stuff, like how do you stay grounded when you're out here, speaking with thousands of people screaming at you and wanting a picture with you? How do you stay grounded, man?
Well, before my daughter was born, my mom, I know you know my mom. Your mom knows my mom well too, and
Yeah.
she's just a she's just a great woman. She always gives me good advice, and she always never lets me forget who I am and where I come from. So that's one of the main things. And now my daughter, of course, that's the one thing that keeps me on the straight and narrow, and keeps my feet on the ground. And family to me is really important. I just recently lost my brother and my grandmother this year,
Wow.
and it's been a rough year. So it's that just having family around, and like I said, my mom and my family, they keep me grounded. Just having them in my life, and not and also I have great fans too, like people that genuinely that love and care about me, not even just the music. I have fans that will hit me up and like, how are you doing? Like, they'll read a tweet and be like, so it's a good support system from all aspects, what I'm saying, to keep me grounded. And having that success has helped me realize that, okay, there could be way more success. So I really got to make sure I keep my feet on the ground. Don't let nothing get to my head. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So having a good upbringing, man. Like I said, my mom and dad were there in the household for me, and I still got into mischief, and living in the hood, I still had my little stint selling drugs and this,
Yeah.
that, and the third, and it's something that's in the past. So yeah, just having good family and good friends around me to keep me in check, and good coaches, because Coach K was a good man. He was good to me. You
Yeah.
know what
It
I
was
mean?
good to me too.
Yeah, he was a good man. He taught me a lot. In that time that I was at Saint FX. So good coaches as well.
Yeah, I love that, man. And the other thing too, like you mentioned loss, and I've definitely lost some people in my life. And how do you deal with that? Like, how do you deal with losing, your brother and your mother and your grandmother?
It's what, it's hard, but the thing is, like, kind of like when we was just playing ball, bro. You know what I mean? We have we have something that we're passionate about. That's what helps me cope. My mother, on the other hand, and my brother's boyfriend, they're having a rougher go at it. I have my days where I miss him like crazy, my grandmother, but I'm so passionate about the music. It inspires me. Like my brother, I have a clip of a voice note from him that's going to be on the album. So it just
Oh,
inspires me. When I get in there, that kind of just that becomes my therapy. The music, the studio's like my therapy, and like the basketball court, like the practice. You know what I'm saying? Like the studio is just, when if we were mad, we got enough argument at home, arguing with our mom. Man, I'm going to the court. Put up 1,000 jumpers, right? You start
yeah.
sweating, and then you feel great. You know what I mean? So it's having that passion to fall back on, to always be that escape from things that are going on in your life, the reality of life that could take you down a dark path. So I owe that all to the music. You know what I mean? To being kind of there for me as my therapy.
Yeah, and do you feel like you doing this music and doing what you love is kind of you carrying on the legacy of both of them as well?
Of course. Having that voice and being able to speak for them. Like the funny thing is, my grandmother is a white lady from Cape Breton, from St. Peter's, and her favorite song is "For the Ghetto." You know what I'm saying? So
Grandma
just knowing
love the
that,
ghetto.
yeah, you know what I mean? She was official in the hood, you know what I mean? So just knowing that I can share some of those memories through music is a comfortable feeling, because knowing that I'm gonna, even when I'm dead and gone, there's those stories and those memories will still live on, through generations of my kids or grandkids or what have you.
That's the thing about music. I mean, some music is just timeless. There's songs that, our parents used to listen to that we can still listen to today. Patti
Right.
LaBelle, Aretha Franklin, James
Yeah.
Brown, I'm Black and I'm Proud. Man, you can
Yeah.
play that song right now.
Yeah. And in the world, we like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that's true. And that's why, especially these times, man, like, we've all known racism has existed and hasn't really gone away. But these times it's like, it makes me as an artist, want to say more. Like I've been writing, even during quarantine, I got stuck in Nova Scotia. I wrote like 5 songs about
Wow.
about the uplifting of Black people, or what's going on and how, racism is happening, and even the COVID and all this stuff, you know what I mean? So, it's having that outlet to help make change, like we talked about earlier.
So how has like all this stuff that's been going on with racism and police brutality, like how has that affected you?
Honestly, it's been a more emotional for me. I've cried so much during these times
Yeah.
because of it. It's created this thing where it's like, even if I see like a meme about it or something, like I'll fill up and start. It's very emotional because it's just sad that all of these years have gone by and this is still a problem in our world. When the world has so many other problems as well that need to be fixed, but this is something that should be the least of any human's worries. You know what I mean? Going outside and being afraid of police,
Right.
or it's something that shouldn't be happening today. So that's why I stand with everybody in the states that are, is going through, as well as here. Like we're dealing with these issues in Canada as well, and I stand for that. And it's just created an emotional thing because it's like, what if that was me? What if that was you? What if that was my daughter? What if that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's very emotional about it, and sad, bro, to be honest.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I've been thinking a lot about it, and I'm with you. I get really emotional too, and when especially when I hear people say, racism doesn't exist in Canada, and I'm like, are you crazy? Of course it
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
Um,
Come in Nova Scotia.
yeah, and so I love the fact that you're using your music to bring people together because that's what we need right now. And so that being said, like, what can people expect from the new album?
Man, a lot of love. I kind of set things off. I kind of let go of some of in the beginning. I kind of let go of some of the old me, just having that player mentality. But then it's a lot about love and family, and of course, losing loved ones and trying to bring people together. And I guess I can just explain it as a lot of love, man, a lot of love, and very heartfelt stuff that means a lot to me. You know what I'm saying? Like like I told you about the Way You Love Me song and the Lost song. So Lost is a record that I've already sang at over 15 funerals,
Wow.
and this hasn't been released. And then the Way You Love Me is a record that just really just explains family always being there and loving the way that you love me, you know what I mean? And always being there for each other. See both of those records. So just trying to evoke that emotion in people that, that we already know about, but society tends to distract us with social media, with, what's going on in the world, and just trying to bring people in and let them, just feel something and feel the love that they have surrounding them, but being able to grab it and hold it and bring it closer to them. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? So
Oh, I
that's
love that.
yeah, that's how I explain that.
No, I love that because you're right. Like we all have people that love us, and sometimes when we're struggling, we're going through stuff, we keep it to ourselves. I don't want to burden my mom. I don't want this
Mhm.
person to know. I don't want my cousin or my friends to know what I'm going through.
Right.
Meanwhile, that's why they're there. That's what the love is about. It's for you to reach out and to let them know how you're feeling, or to just check on them and see how they're doing. Right. So I'm
Yep.
glad that you said that. It's about
Yep.
reaching out and pulling people closer. Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And there's also a vulnerability side of me that's coming out on this album, where I talk about my issues with drugs. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Having some problems with drugs, and not being afraid to let people know that, as far as my fans and my family as well, because how are you going to get help if you don't, like you just said, if you don't tell them, you don't express it. So, I've opened up on that side of things as well on the album. So I think this is just really letting people into Ralph, I can say now, a lot, and letting them really see a little bit side of me that they might have just had, thought maybe, or this or that, but now I'm telling you the truth about my life and what's going on in my life. So it's really, that's why I feel like I'm really maturing on this project a
I
lot.
mean, that is mature. I mean, to be vulnerable, to be vulnerable is actually to be strong. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
To come out and to say all these things. Like, there's people who probably look at you and put you on this pedestal because you're this R&B singer and who's traveling the world, and then
Yeah.
for you to come out and say, but to be honest, I had a problem with drugs and this and
Yeah.
that. Like that.
Yeah.
That's major, man. That's really
Yeah.
big. So
Yeah.
what was that kind of just made you do that? Like, you could have said all kinds of things. You could have been vulnerable in different ways, but to be that open and honest, what made you kind of do that?
Just trying to be honest with myself, because I'm not perfect. Nobody is. You know what I'm saying? And I'm using that again as therapy, is letting people know that. In the same time of me, like I said earlier about me selling drugs, I would have never told nobody about that in the past. But I'm comfortable in my own skin. I'm comfortable with who I am, and I'm not ashamed of who I am. So it's just being open with myself and being able to allow myself to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that's part of the therapy and that's part of the healing process. Once you can admit something, then you can start the healing process. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and I think, especially as an artist, I mean, you look at Usher, Confessions, right? Like what, when people first heard that song, they were like, Usher's really like telling on himself. And I think that's what people need, because you said it already. You look at social media, you're looking at the media, you're looking at people living these glamorous lives, and you think their life is so perfect. They've never been through anything.
Right.
And, I think that forms a deeper connection with people when they know that you're a human. Like, we all go through stuff, right?
That's right. That's right. Instead of trying to paint this perfect life that nobody has. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, like I said, maturity, man. It's becoming a man even more so now, and I owe a lot of that to my daughter too, man.
Wow, that's awesome, man. So who are some artists that you would love to work with? Anybody. If you could work with anybody, what are 3 or 4 or 5 artists you'd love to work with?
Yeah, Alicia Keys.
Ooh.
Definitely Drake. Everybody wants to work with Drake.
Of course.
The Drake effect. I'm gonna give you an idea. I know you're writing books. I'm gonna give you an idea on your podcast for a book. The Drake effect.
Ah.
Think about it. One tweet, one collab, one mention, and you're out of here. You know what I mean? But definitely Drake. Alicia Keys for sure. Nas, he's my favorite MC. So definitely Nas. Who else? I'm gonna say Kanye.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Kanye West, even though it's one that people be like, man, whatever. Nah, man, I'm gonna say Kanye West. You know what I mean? He's been an inspiration through all his ups and his downs. You know what I'm saying? Going through all these things that he's gone through, it's allowed me to be more vulnerable as well. You know what I'm saying? So Kanye, who did I say? Kanye, Jay-Z, Alicia Keys, Drake. Let me see. Who else?
Those are all hit makers, by the way. All of those people.
I'm gonna leave it there for now. I'm gonna leave it there for now.
I mean, those are all those are all hit makers for sure. So let me ask you this: what have you kind of on this whole, not even musical journey, but just journey of life? Like, what's something that you really learned about yourself? Like, what's something that you kind of just discovered about you? Because right now you seem like you're going through this like rediscovery or reconnection with like who you really are. So like, what's something that you really kind of just kind of discovered about yourself or got reconnected with?
I think I'm more so getting reconnected with my strength, and not realizing for so many years how strong I am and how smart I am. And that's one thing that, I'm more reconnected. And like I said, is like having a good woman around me to lift me up and build me up helps a lot. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So just being a stronger man and, being able to overcome problems and issues in my life. And the journey's been an amazing one, but at times rough. But just knowing that, like I said, about the passion thing and then being passionate about like the basketball, like I've been fortunate to have 2 passions that became successful. And, now knowing, and once the success slows down, you start to get worried. But now knowing that I'm good because I know how strong I am and growing as an artist and as a man, just knowing my inner strength and my brain and knowing that I'm not stupid, I'm smart, man, and I have a lot to offer.
Well, that's powerful, man. And I think that's good too right now, because there may be some people out there who need to hear that. There may be some people who are lacking confidence. Like COVID really took a lot of people. So, I think, reminding people that there's something special about you. A lot of my posts on social media, and even when I end this podcast, I always say there's something special about you. Grind until you get it and be grateful when you find it.
Yeah, that's right.
And I love that you said that. And I also like the fact that you said you had 2 passions, because and this is really important because one of the things that we often ask, we're asked when we're kids is, what do you want to be when you grow up? And
Mhm.
it's cool. You're a kid. Like, I want to be a firefighter, a dancer, or
Right.
an artist, right?
Yeah.
But at 18, people still don't know. At 20, they don't know. At 40, they're working in a company. They still don't know. At 50, they
Yeah.
still don't know, right?
No. Yeah.
And
And
and I
that,
think it's because you lock them in. And
mm,
I like the fact, I think the question we should ask people is, and you said it, you alluded to it, what are you passionate about right now?
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I saw a podcast with Steven, what's his name? Steven, not Steven, the basketball player that looks like the Steven Jackson.
Jackson, yeah.
He say that too, and it really struck a chord with me, man. He said that, you know, with the education system and parents, he's like telling, like, he sees these parents saying, you know, oh, you got to go to school to find this out. You got to go, instead of that, no, if you see your kid picking up a camera, you know what I'm saying, at that age, well, then you nurture that. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? And I was fortunate to find my own passions and not have it forced on me. And they came within the same year, within 6 months of each other, together at the same time. And I made that decision, and I'm still on that journey, and I'm never going to stop. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So it's finding that passion and not being influenced by anybody else telling you what it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? So I'm lucky, and not a lot of us are lucky and have that. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely key.
No, that's powerful, man. You have to have the discipline. I say you have to have the discipline to follow your curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
You see
That's
where it
right.
leads you. You
That's
started
right.
with basketball. You were like, great. And then
Yeah.
guess what? You decided that you wanted to do music, and that's perfectly okay. And I think people have to understand that because we get so locked in on one thing, and when it doesn't go the way we want, we just
Right.
keep rocking with it, even though we no longer have a passion for it.
Right, exactly, and that's shows you that maybe at the first at the initial stage that wasn't it anyway. You probably had a passion for something, was like, I can't do that, so I'll do this. You know
Right.
what I mean? So that's just believing in yourself, man. And it's like that's the key. That's the key right there.
Man, I love it, man. So before we wrap up, anything else that you want people to know? What do you want people to know, man?
Oh man, I got a record coming out, a song coming out on the 16th called Pair of Wings. I got my boy Notes on there, and I got my boy Owen Sound, O Sound.
Oh yeah.
Gonna be one of those ones. We already shot the video, so I'll be dropping that soon. And then in November, sometime November, the album Ralph is coming, and I really want everybody to go check that out because it's been like I've been working on this for about 8-9 years. So it's a long time coming with this one. Well, the last song was 8 years ago that I did for it. That was the oldest song on the album. So I'd say about 8 years I've been working on this. I've dropped a couple EPs in between, few EPs in between, but this is my baby. I'm coming out with Ralph.
Man, I'm excited, man. I can already hear the evolution. I can hear that you're kind of stepping into like another version of yourself, man. I'm sure the album's gonna be fire, and I'm
Thank you,
looking
bro.
forward to it, bro.
That's
Um,
love.
2 questions before you leave. I asked everybody this: what does it mean to you to grind? What does grind and hustle mean to you?
Grind is just tunnel vision. To me, it's just tunnel vision. Just putting up those blockers and not letting anything distract you from what the mission is, now whatever that is. And for me, it's been basketball and music. So that's grind, is just always working towards the end goal of what you envision yourself to be in that, within that passion. So that's what grind is to me. It's just going and working your ass off, put it in those extra hours, because you ain't gonna get nothing out of it unless you put in the time.
I love that. And the
Mhm.
last question: what is gratitude to you? What does gratitude mean to you?
Us being gratitude, being grateful, and thankful for, you know, the blessings that I've had in my life, and the gift that I've been given. You know, with, you know, being able to use my voice. You know, some people can't talk, some people can't hear. You know what I'm saying? It's just being grateful and using my gift to help evoke change and empower people. You know, and invoke emotion, a positive emotion, and gratitude. Yeah, just being really grateful and thankful for, you know, family, for being able to do what I love, you know, and that's about it.
Man, that's great, man. Well, look, man, thanks so much for being on this episode, man. I really, really appreciate it. I can't wait till the album comes out because I know it's going to be fire.
I
And
can say
we're
I'll
definitely going to
send you
get
an
you on the
exclusive.
charts then. We're going to get you on the American charts, man. That's the goal.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, that's love. I'm gonna send you a little. I want to send you an exclusive, bro. I'm gonna send you an exclusive before it drops. I'll give you a week before. I'll say, just remind me. It's gonna. I'll let you know when I drop the date. I'll let you know. I'll send you an exclusive so you can take it in.
Oh man, I appreciate that, brother.
Mhm.
All right, man. Well, thanks a lot for being on.
Yes, sir.
I'll definitely reach out to you and we'll connect soon. All right.